Welcome back to another video, and in today's video this thing is going to be sat back on the ground for the first time in almost a year. We're going to get the engine bay cleaned up and painted, and then we're going to put all of our new suspension parts and chassis parts underneath this since we got all new tubular stuff. So the driver's side suspension here has been torn down for a while now. I was going to go ahead and tear it, get the K-member and all that stuff out, but I just stopped because I didn't know when I was going to be able to get all the parts in case I needed to set it down and move it. But we found that right there is pretty rusted up. We'll need to clean that up, get it painted before we put our upper control arm brackets in there. The brackets themselves were extremely rusted. Ended up having to get some replacement ones. Right here are our replacement upper control arm brackets. They are some KMember brand ones. And then these control arms, I don't even remember what I got these off of. I think it was maybe Max Beating Rods or something. They're some cheap boys, but I got some new ball joints on these guys. And then I had to find some new hardware as well because the eyelets on these are bigger than the factory eyelets. With that being said, KMember's bracket comes with a factory sized hole for the factory bolts. So the middle of the three settings here is going to be the factory setting. So I went ahead and I punched those out to 9/16. The bolts that we have on here are 14 millimeters coarse thread. 9/16, it actually fits pretty tight. I don't have many metric drill bits, but the 9/16 punched out, those fit pretty tight in it. Once this side of the suspension is all put back together, we're going to pressure wash it and paint it. And the reason we're doing that in this order is because if I put the new KMember in now, I'd have to mask it all off for the paint job. So we're just going to leave that sucker in there. It can get dirtier and get overspray on it and all it wants. First time she sat on the ground in months. I got to paint this dang spindle and caliper and everything, or else it's going to look like crap. That looks awesome now. Been a long time with not much progress, but here we are with the Trans Am. She's been pressure washed out, degreased. Just got to finish masking some stuff off and then get some large stuff to mask off around the edges of the car and over the top and over the cowling and all that stuff. And then we'll be ready to paint this sucker and start going together with all our new chassis components. Haven't done this section yet because I'm still actually going to change how the radiator's mounted. I'm going to cut this lower section and lay it down, so just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. Everything else is primed and ready. Alright, so here's a good first coat of white on there. Definitely tell the primer's showing through, so it's gonna need a couple coats to really get it to look right. You know, this is getting deleted. These brake lines, I'm gonna be making new ones to delete this and have to put a proportioning valve in and all that. All this wire loom I'm replacing with braided stuff, so I wasn't too worried about getting a little bit on that for back in there as well. So I'm gonna be replacing a lot of this stuff. Any of the stuff that's not masked off is getting replaced and redone. So it is time. It is time to start reassembling the Trans Am. As you can see, engine bay's all painted up. Finally got under here wrapped up. Got it done. Other side was already painted there. I already got some of the suspension on up here as well. Got to do this for the other side, but it is time to go ahead with all of this. Got the KMember out here, the new lower control arms. Got my other shock over here. We've got a torque arm for this thing, a QA1 torque arm. I was not obliged with going with the adjustable because the transmission cross member is for a turbo 400, so it comes with an adjustable bracket for the torque arm, so I didn't need to get an adjustable torque arm. All right, here's an attempt of trying to hold this up by myself. There's what it looks like in the car. That is awesome. So this side over here, the pin is in, the alignment pin for the KMember is in there. This side is off. So let's see if we can get it to pop in that hole right there. All right, I was able to come in right off of this bracket here and just kind of pry over a little bit and got her to drop in. So now that the KMember's installed, we're gonna move on to these fellas here. We'll have to set up our heim joint spacers and all that. We're gonna apply some anti-seize to these threads as well, and then we're gonna come over here, and this one I'm gonna remove and we'll line it up with this one, set this up at factory length for now, and get those suckers bolted up. I tell you what, it was due time for this. Sucker's gonna ride like a brand new car. My goodness. It's looking good. This side suspension is mainly all the way on up here. This side got the control arm on. Still gotta open up this hole here for this bolt. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So once that's done, the other side of the suspension can go back together. Right now I'm at a standstill since it's nighttime and I don't have no hardware, so I'm going to go underneath, mount the transmission cross member, and kind of get an idea of where the shifter cable needs to go, and then I can kind of get the inside buttoned up, start getting working on that as well. All right, here we have the BMR transmission mount for a Fbody with a turbo 400. So we got this mount here for the torque arm that can be adjustable, all set up there. So we're about to get this underneath there. We can measure from about where the transmission mount's going to be here to where I want to make the hole from my shifter cable. I can measure on the transmission from the transmission mount forward and see about how much length I'll have, because that shifter's mounted pretty high, so that cable's going to have to go a ways to go through the floorboard. So it's not like a real gradual bend. You want it to be kind of a smooth bend, so it's gonna have to go a little ways forward. So I want to make sure it can come out and kind of S-curve back to where it needs to mount on the transmission without any kinks and with it being long enough. Got my tubular trans mount, tubular torque arm. Suspension is all put together for the most part. Nothing's torqued down yet because we'll need to get the weight of the car on it and all that stuff, and it might come back apart, but it's all assembled except for the spindles and the brakes, because I got some cleaning and painting to do on those guys. But yeah, this side is done, as well as over here. I got the holes dremeled out for that upper bracket there, and got them all in there. Late last night, I removed the factory return line because I don't need it no more. And I took the master cylinder and ABS block and everything out, drained the master cylinder, put some plugs in it, and reinstalled it, because we're not gonna be running that. Uh-oh, a little bit of brake fluid running down my new paint there. That ain't good. Shoo, boy. She cleaned up. New engine bay paint. All tubular components underneath it. Going through rewiring everything. All ready to go back together with the sucker.